What do you think of when you see a coconut? To most people, a coconut is just food. But in old Hawaii, a coconut grove was sacred. A place of ancestry, life, and mana. In episode 8 of Chief of War, when Keōua strikes the Sacred Niu Grove, it isn't just the trees that he's cutting down. It's the very spirits of his enemies. Let's talk about why this matters. Before we get into the big events of this episode, let's talk for a minute about the coconuts. For Hawaiians, the Niu was life. Just like the legendary Hawaiian musician Larry Rivera told us in song. Coconuts, coconuts, you give us many things. Hats, toys, and candy rings for all to enjoy. But beyond its usefulness, the coconut tree was sacred. Planting one was a symbol of life and continuity. And coconut groves often carried spiritual meaning that connected to ancestry and the land. Years ago at Merry Monarch, there was a performance by a male group from Halau na Mamo o Pu'u'anahulu. They performed the song Niu ʻauhuhu, which is about the second stage of a coconut's development. Hawaiians have different words for each of the 4 stages of a coconut's development. Niu ʻauhuhu is basically about a young coconut. The song is mostly fun about drinking the water from the coconut. So when you see a character tending to a coconut sprout, the show is trying to tell us something. This isn't about trees or your favorite kind of lotion. It's about the very heart of Hawaiian identity. So with that, let's talk about episode 8, the Sacred Niu Grove. One thing Chief of War has done very well is show how good Ka'ahumanu is at political maneuvering. She was very good at that in real life. And she does see some fruits from her labors in this episode by being a behind-the-scenes person who helps bring together Kaiana and Kamehameha. Coconuts, niu, were essential to Hawaiian life because every part of the tree was useful. The fruit provided food and drink. You can eat the flesh. The water was used for hydration, and the oil for cooking, medicine, and ceremony. The fibrous husk could be twisted into cords or used as a fire starter, while the hard shell became bowls, utensils, and musical instruments. But definitely not a bra. That was a Western introduction. The leaves were woven into mats, baskets, thatching, or people like my grandpa would weave them into a hat. And the trunk could be used for building. Beyond even practicality, Niu carried spiritual meaning. Groves were often sacred spaces, and planting a coconut symbolized life, continuity, and a deep connection to the land and ancestors. This altar in the coconut grove is called a kuahu. It's a type of shrine or altar. Traditionally, a kuahu could be set up in sacred groves, heiau, or even homes. In the kuahu, the coconut trees were sacred, tied to ancestry, sustenance, and connection to the gods. An altar here represents a space where people would communicate with the divine, offering chants, prayers, or physical items to seek protection, fertility, or guidance. The stone platform elevates and sets it apart from the forest floor, while the wooden frame draped with leaves signals consecration. Cutting down these coconut trees was a deliberate act of desecration. Keōua was just trying to send a message to Kamehameha. But here, it's actually more than that. Old Hawaiians actually believed the coconut tree was the kino lau, or one of the physical manifestations of ku, and the coconut tree contained ku's mana. You can read about this at huapala.org in the section for the song Niu ʻauhuhu. So here, Keōua isn't just sending a message to Kamehameha. He is insulting ku and paving the way for his own god of favor, Pele, goddess of the volcano Kilauea. Notice here that Jason Momoa's Leo Mano weapon has no teeth on the surface of the paddle, whereas his weapon in the beginning of the series was decorated with the teeth of the people that he defeated in war. Hopefully, he will have more teeth that he can put on this Leo Mano before the end of the season. After the death of someone as high-ranking as Nahi, there would be an elaborate process to remove the bones, the iwi, which were considered to be where a person's mana or spiritual power was. To protect that mana from enemies who might desecrate or steal it, the iwi were cleansed, oiled, and wrapped in fine kapa cloth. Multiple layers of kapa could be used, sometimes with fragrant plants woven in, both to protect and to sanctify. The wrapped bones were then hidden or placed in a sacred location, which could be a cave, a cliffside, crevice, or even with a trusted family or kahuna. For ali'i, secrecy was especially important. If rival chiefs gained possession of those bones, they could try to diminish that person's mana or use it for political leverage. This process from old Hawaii is why land is so important to Hawaiians today. The aina, the land, contains the iwi or the bones of our ancestors. So when we see protests about protecting land, it's not just about protecting the present or the future, it's about preserving the past as well. By pushing this man into the volcano, Keōua is sacrificing him to the goddess of the volcano, Pele. There's additional meaning here, but I don't want to spoil anything for the next episode, so I'll save it. But if you know, you know. I guess we can call this Kahikili's crash outs. They don't name the specific fish in this scene, but just like in episode 6, he is getting high from the juice of the fish. Kahikili did in fact stab his own son. Samuel Kamakaua records that Kahikili was so ruthless that he would punish his own family. But this particular incident is from an oral tradition that talks about Kahikili punishing Kalani Kupele. The Hawaiian sling is called a ma'a, and they were used in battle. But just the sounds in the scenes with the rocks hitting the trees is really cool. I like this line here that Kaiana in particular fears being wrong more than he fears war. It speaks to Kaiana's fatal flaws in this show and really how the real Kaiana was. If you notice, Heke is watching a fisherman. The fisherman picks the petal of a plant, grinds the petals, places the ground petals under a rock, and then waits for the stunned fish to float to the surface. I'm pretty sure that this flower is called an ʻauhuhu, which is also called the Hawaiian fish poisoning plant. ʻauhuhu have purplish petals, which were used to poison fish. But what do you think this will be used for? Let me know in the comments. Notice that when Kupuohi approaches Kamehameha, she must talk to him from the ground because only ali'i are allowed on the heiau. She wouldn't be allowed on the actual heiau grounds. This is a really nice contrast of how both sides are preparing for war. There's actually some really fun historical subtext here that I will talk about in the episode 9 review. This is as bad of a sign as you can get here. An erupting volcano right where your enemy is preparing for war is a sign that the gods, or in this case, Pele, favor Keōua. Will it give Keōua the advantage that he needs? We'll find out in the next episode. And that's going to do it for this list. There are a lot of great cultural gems and storytelling depth in this episode. Every tree, every grove, every flower carries meaning in Hawaiian history. It's not just background scenery, it's culture, survival, and mana. Later this week, I'm going to drop a timeline video that talks about this line from episode 7. When Captain Metcalf said, "This place is a treasure trove. Once word is out, there will be no stopping the tide of men who will come for it." It's a harrowing line for all Kanaka in every generation. Go ahead and hit the notification bell so you don't miss that video. Thanks for watching. Ahui ho, and we'll see you next time.